We are going to start in a tense, incredibly awkward social setting. We'll watch that morph into an attempted assassination in the dark, then transition into visceral, supernatural horror.
And finally, drop us into a high-stakes magical heist flashback.
Right. And through this completely bizarre sequence, we are going to explore what this source material reveals about the fragility of the human ego.
Which is a huge theme here.
Massive. We are going to look at the incredibly shallow nature of our gratitude. And we will see the absolute terrifying consequences of trying to wield power that you fundamentally do not understand.
The central character we are following on this downward spiral, aside from the monk Jigong, is a man named Ma Jing.
Right, the guy whose mother was just saved.
Exactly. And Ma Jing is the perfect psychological test subject for this exploration. He considers himself a martial hero. He's a man of honor, a man of high status within his community, and a formidable warrior.
Basically, a guy with a lot of pride.
A ton of pride. And what we're going to witness is Jigong systematically dismantling every single pillar of Ma Jing's identity, just piece by agonizing piece.
And that dismantling starts immediately. So the miracle has just happened. Jigong has cured Ma Jing's elderly mother. Ma Jing is thrilled.
He's operating under what looks like pure filial piety and immense gratitude at this point.
Right, he wants to honor the monks, so he sets up a private banquet. But the text is very specific about where and how this banquet is set up, and the tension is just palpable from the first second Jigong walks into the room.
The author of the text is brilliant here. They establish the physical environment to completely reflect the psychological state of the characters.
Because he doesn't use the main dining hall, does he?
No, Ma Jing doesn't host this banquet in the grand main reception hall of his estate. He hosts it in the East Room.
And why is that significant?
Well, in traditional Chinese courtyard architecture, the Siheiwan, the layout, dictates hierarchy. The main northern rooms are for the elders and formal guests.
Okay, so that would be the respectful choice.
Right. The side rooms, like the East Room, are often the personal domain of the master of the house, like his private study or quarters. So, setting the dinner here suggests intimacy, but it also suggests containment.
Ah, so he's trying to hide him.
Exactly. Ma Jing wants to keep this eccentric, dirty monk hidden away from public view.
And when Jigong walks in, he notices the table setting is incredibly strange. The text mentions a spread of leftover food, which frankly already seems like a slight faux pas if you are hosting the living saint who just saved your mother's life.
Yeah, serving leftovers to your savior is definitely a choice.
A bad one. But more importantly, there are 4 complete sets of cups and chopsticks laid out on the table.
And this is where the psychological profiling really begins. Jigong looks at the 4 place settings and asks Ma Jing a very simple question. He asks who else is joining to them for dinner.
And Ma Jing's response is so telling. He says, no one. Just me.
Right.
So when Jigong asks why there are 4 sets of chopsticks for one person, Ma Jing replies, I drink in all 4 directions.
It's such a bizarre flex.
It really is. What is the underlying psychology of that statement? Like, who sits alone in a room and sets 4 places for themselves so they can, rotate around the table?
It is a profound demonstration of ego, extreme narcissism, and ultimately isolation. Drinking in all 4 directions implies that Ma Jing views himself as the absolute center of his own universe.
He's his own VIP party.
Exactly. Think about the physical space he is claiming. He feels he is so important, his presence is so large, that he literally takes up the physical space of 4 grown men.
Wow.
He is surrounded by an invisible entourage of his own self-importance. He doesn't need actual companions. His own inflated status provides him with enough company. It is a grandiose gesture, but when you really look at it, it is incredibly lonely.
It reminds me of those stories you hear about, like, certain eccentric CEOs or celebrities.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the ones who demand the entire floors of a hotel be cleared out just for them, or who book an entire first-class cabin on a flight so they don't have to look at anyone else.
That is a perfect modern parallel.
Right. It's a flex of power, but it just highlights how completely disconnected they are from the rest of humanity.
And Jigong, simply by pointing out the chopsticks, forces Ma Jing to confront the absurdity of his own ego right out of the gate.
He pops the bubble immediately.
He does. Ma Jing realizes how ridiculous it looks when questioned by an outsider, so he immediately clears the extra settings. But the damage is done. The social mask has slipped. Jigong has established that he sees right through the martial hero facade.
It's the ultimate subtle call-out. But Jigong doesn't stop there. They sit down, and Jigong decides to just pour gasoline on the fire.
Oh, he really goes for the throat here.
He leans over and casually asks Ma Jing, hey, do you happen to know my grand disciple, a guy named Ma Yun-sang? And according to the text, Ma Jing absolutely bristles at this.
Because Ma Yunsang happens to be his uncle.
Right. So why is this such a massive deal?
To understand why this is such an explosive moment, we have to look closely at the cultural concept of face, or mianzi,
Yeah.
and the incredibly strict familial hierarchies of traditional Chinese society.
Okay, so it's all about status and respect.
Completely. In this context, age, lineage, and generational rank dictate every single aspect of social interaction. Your uncle is an elder. He is someone to whom you owe deep, unquestioning respect.
So you can't just talk about him casually.
Right. By casually referring to Ma Jing's revered uncle as his grand disciple, Jigong is intentionally rewriting the social hierarchy in the most offensive way possible.
So he's basically taking the family tree and turning it completely upside down.
Precisely. Jigong is placing himself 2 full generations above the uncle.
Oh, wow.
Mathematically, in terms of social rank, that makes Ma Jing the equivalent of a great-grandchild, or even lower, compared to this ragged monk sitting across from him.
That is brutal, especially for a guy who just set 4 places for himself.
Exactly. In the world of the Jianghu, the martial arts underworld that Ma Jing belongs to, your reputation, your face, and your family standing are your currency. They are worth more than gold.
And Jigong just bankrupted him.
Pretty much. To have an eccentric beggar monk claim your elder uncle as a lowly disciple is an intolerable insult.
Think about how that would feel today. Imagine you've worked your entire life to become, like, a respected senior partner at a prestigious law firm.
Okay, setting the scene.
And then a guy walks in off the street in sweatpants, puts his feet on your desk, and loudly announces to everyone that your father used to fetch his coffee and do his laundry.
You would be furious.
The visceral anger you would feel in that moment is exactly what Ma Jing is experiencing.
And Ma Jing's internal reaction is instantaneous. The text gives us his inner monologue. He thinks to himself, this monk is truly hateful.
Notice how quickly the pivot happens there.
It's terrifying. The profound gratitude for his mother's life vanishes in a split second. The miracle is completely forgotten, instantly replaced by wounded pride.
Jigong knows exactly what he's doing, doesn't he? He is conducting this bizarre spiritual stress test.
He's pushing every button.
It's as if Jigong is saying, I gave you the ultimate gift. I pulled the person you love most back from the brink of death. Now I am going to intentionally push your most sensitive, petty, egotistical buttons to see if your gratitude has any actual depth.
Or if it's purely superficial. And Ma Jing fails the test spectacularly.
He really does.
The very next interaction revolves around the issue of payment. Ma Jing, trying to regain the upper hand and play the magnanimous wealthy host, says to the monk, name your price, master. Any amount of gold or silver, it's yours.
Which, seems like a nice gesture on the surface, but why is he really doing it?
He wants to pay the monk off, because paying him turns a profound, unpayable spiritual debt into a simple, finite commercial transaction.
Ah, it balances the books.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I owe you my mother's life, you hold power over me forever. But if I give you a chest of silver for your services, the ledger is balanced. The relationship is terminated.
It reestablishes Ma Jing's power dynamic.
He becomes the wealthy, benevolent patron, and Jigong is reduced to the hired help.
It's a way of buying his pride back. But Jigong refuses the money. He tells Ma Jing he doesn't want gold or silver. Instead, he points to a specific item in the East Room.
And this is where it gets so interesting.
He wants a painting hanging on the wall called The Wealth and Nobility Peony.
The author's choice of that specific painting is a brilliant, deliberate subversion of expectations.
How so?
Well, you have this ascetic monk, right? A man who famously wears torn, filthy robes and cares absolutely nothing for worldly possessions or status. And yet, he demands a painting that is the literal physical manifestation of bourgeois status.
The peony flower?
Yes. In traditional Chinese art and symbolism, the peony is the flower of riches and honor. It represents high social class and material success.
So he's not just asking for art.
Not at all. Jigong doesn't just want payment. He wants to symbolically strip Ma Jing of his wealth and nobility. He is taking the visual anchor of Ma Jing's ego right off his wall.
And he won't even let Ma Jing handle it on his own terms. Ma Jing tries to stall. He says something like, oh, the painting is old and dusty. I'll have the servants take it down and clean it up for you when you leave.
He's desperately trying to stay in control of the transaction.
Right. But Jigong insists. He says he wants to take it down right now. And then he adds this incredibly chilling little line. He says, I'm not leaving this room today anyway. I'm watching to make sure not a single one escapes.
That line fundamentally changes the atmosphere of the room.
It completely shifts gears.
Up until now, it's been a tense psychological duel between two men. But the text reveals a crucial piece of background information right here. There are three other characters named Lei Ming, Chen Liang, and Hua Yunlong, who are inexplicably hiding inside the hollow walls of the East Room during this entire dinner.
Wait, let's pause on that because that is insane. Why are there three guys hiding in the walls of the dining room?
I know, it sounds crazy, but this is a classic hallmark of the Jianghu literary genre.
The martial arts underworld.
Exactly. The Jianghu is a world of outlaws, wandering martial artists, secret societies, and just constant paranoia. Estates belonging to these martial figures often had hidden compartments, escape routes, or hollow walls for eavesdropping and hiding fugitives.
So these guys are basically fugitives.
Yes, these three men are outlaws associated with Majing. Having them huddled in the dark, dusty space between the walls, listening to this incredibly tense dinner, adds a layer of almost farcical claustrophobia.
They must be sweating bullets in there.
They are terrified. They know how dangerous and violent Majing is, but they also know rumors of Jigong's unpredictable supernatural power.
So when Jigong says, I'm making sure no one escapes,
He is letting Majing know that his secrets, his hidden associates, and his entire criminal underworld network are completely transparent to him.
that brings Majing to his absolute breaking point, doesn't it? His ego just cannot take another hit.
He is totally cornered.
His status has been mocked, his uncle insulted, his wealth symbolically claimed, and his hidden criminal associates exposed. He decides, right then and there in his own mind, that the monk has to die.
He crosses the line into murder.
And he justifies it to himself by saying he needs to protect his second brother hiding in the wall, but it's blindingly clear that it's just raw, bruised ego. He cannot tolerate the existence of a man who makes him feel small.
That's the real motive.
And then we get one of the most twisted routines of mental gymnastics I have ever encountered.
Oh, the rationalization process here is just fascinating.
Majing is sitting there planning a cold-blooded murder. But he promises himself that afterward, after he kills the monk, he will build a memorial pagoda for him.
It's so absurd.
And he promises to burn paper money for the monk's spirit on holidays as a way to repay the debt for curing his mother.
This specific detail might be the most profound psychological insight in the entire chapter.
Why do you think that is?
Because it perfectly encapsulates how human beings are capable of compartmentalizing immense, horrific cruelty alongside superficial performative piety.
Doing evil while pretending to be good.
Exactly. Majing wants to commit a grave sin murdering his benefactor. But his ego is so fragile that he needs to remain the good guy in his own internal narrative. He cannot view himself as a villain.
So he invents this twisted accounting system for morality based on popular religious practices.
Right. It's like he's trying to bribe the universe.
I'll commit the murder in the physical world to protect my pride, but I'll buy the premium memorial package in the spiritual world to clear my conscience.
That's exactly his thought process.
Have you ever seen someone do something incredibly unethical in business, like absolutely ruin someone's life, and then cut a large check to a charity the next day so they can still sleep at night? It's the exact same mechanism.
It highlights a recurring theme in the text regarding the danger of viewing spirituality as transactional.
Treating religion like a vending machine.
Yes. Majing genuinely believes that a physical structure, a pagoda, and some burnt paper offerings can balance the cosmic scales of murder. He lacks any understanding that true morality is an internal state of being, not a ledger of external actions and donations. He believes he can outsmart karma through bureaucracy.
Well, he's about to find out how wrong he is, because Majing thinks he has it all figured out. He decides the best tactical approach is to get the monk blackout drunk to make the assassination easier and quieter.
A classic strategy.
Right. So he initiates a drinking game. Majing starts matching Jigong cup for cup. We need to talk about the timeline here because the text notes they drink until the lamps are lit. This isn't just a quick couple of shots.
No, this is hours of sustained heavy drinking. Majing is relying on his physical constitution, his martial artist stamina, to outlast this old, frail-looking man.
But Jigong remains completely intensely sober. The alcohol has absolutely no effect on him.
In fact, the text gives us a great moment where Jigong starts muttering to himself in frustration. He says, "Drinking all this wine and not getting drunk. Maybe it's better to get drunk so I don't have to go through the trouble.
What exactly is the trouble he's complaining about?
The trouble is the tremendous effort he has to expend to save Ma Jing from his own destructive impulses.
Oh, because he knows what's coming.
Exactly. As a divine enlightened being, Jigong is already fully aware of the murder plot forming in Ma Jing's mind. He can hear his thoughts.
So if he actually got drunk...
If Jigong were just a mortal monk, getting blackout drunk would be a death sentence. He would pass out and be easily killed. But because he is aware, staying sober means he has to actively manage the situation. He has to stay awake to play out the elaborate lesson he is constructing. It's almost a divine inconvenience for him.
That is so funny. It's like, ugh, I have to stay up late and teach this guy a lesson. Eventually, the standoff breaks. Jigong announces he needs to step outside to relieve himself. Ma Jing sees this as his perfect window of opportunity. They walk out to the East Village entrance. It's pitch black. Jigong squats down.
Very vulnerable position.
Right. Ma Jing quietly draws his broadsword, sneaks up directly behind the monk, raises the heavy blade over his head, and swings down with everything he has.
And this is the moment where the grounded, tense psychological thriller we've been reading completely shatters.
The supernatural elements crash directly into the narrative, because Jigong doesn't dodge. He doesn't turn around and parry the blade. Instead, he uses a specific spell, the Ding Shen Fa, or the body freezing spell. He locks Ma Jing perfectly in place, mid-strike.
To understand the impact of this, we really need to look at the mechanics of Taoist magic as it's presented in this literary world.
It's not just waving a wand, is it?
No, this isn't Harry Potter. The Ding Shen Fi operates on the principles of qi, the vital life force, and the meridian system of the human body.
Like acupuncture points.
Exactly. In martial arts and Taoist mysticism, striking specific acupressure points can disrupt the flow of qi, causing paralysis. Jigong is performing a supreme metaphysical version of this. He is instantly severing the connection between Ma Jing's conscious will and his physical nervous system.
The visual of that is incredibly striking.
It really is. You have a highly trained, lethal martial artist frozen like a stone statue with a massive weapon raised in the air.
Right, and the broadsword is the ultimate symbol of Ma Jing's physical power, his masculinity, his authority in the underworld.
And yet it is rendered completely, laughably impotent by a simple, effortless exercise of divine will. It is the absolute triumph of the metaphysical over the physical.
So Ma Jing is standing there, physically paralyzed, unable to move a muscle, but his mind is entirely awake and trapped inside his own body.
He's fully conscious of what's happening.
And what happens next is what really fascinates me. Jigong doesn't just walk away. He starts screaming at the top of his lungs, "Help! Murder! Someone is trying to kill a monk!"
He's drawing a crowd.
Yeah. The text specifically notes that Shayutun is a populous, busy village. Hearing the screams, people start pouring out of their houses. They're carrying oil lamps, flooding the dark street with light.
So Ma Jing is standing there, frozen like a maniac with a sword.
Exactly. He must be thinking his life is completely over. He is apt to be caught red-handed attempting to hack a holy man to pieces. But just as the villagers arrive, Jigong uses a second spell. He makes the frozen Ma Jing completely invisible to the crowd.
So the villagers see nothing.
Right. They walk right past him, holding their lamps up, see absolutely nothing, assume it was a false alarm, and go back to bed.
Now, I want to explore the strategy here.
Yeah, please do. Because on the surface, this seems counterintuitive. If Jigong's entire goal is to punish Ma Jing's inflated ego and arrogance, wouldn't letting the whole village see him standing there like a treacherous coward be the ultimate humiliation? Why hide him?
It's a crucial question, and it's to the very core of Jigong's methods. You are entirely correct that public shaming would destroy Ma Jing's social standing. He would lose his precious face.
Which we know he cares about more than anything.
Right. But Jigong isn't interested in the mundane law of the village, and he's not interested in simple social justice. He is operating on a much deeper, purely psychological and spiritual level.
So how does invisibility hurt him more?
By saving Ma Jing from public humiliation, Jigong actually inflicts something much more terrifying. He establishes absolute totalitarian control over Ma Jing's perception of reality.
Let's dig into that. How is being invisible more terrifying than being caught?
Think about the alternative. If the villagers catch Ma Jing, they disarm him, they arrest him, he goes to jail. The matter is handed over to the earthly authorities, the magistrate, the local laws.
It becomes a normal crime.
Exactly. It becomes a known worldly problem that Ma Jing can understand. It is out of Jigong's hands. But by making him invisible, Jigong is sending a devastating message.
What's the message?
He is saying, I control what people see. I control the laws of physics. I am the only authority in this universe, and I am the only one who dictates your punishment.
Oh, wow. That is dark.
It isolates Ma Jing completely. The psychological terror of being trapped in your own paralyzed body, entirely invisible while your neighbors walk inches away from you carrying lamps, is profoundly alienating.
It's like a waking nightmare.
It proves to Ma Jing that his social status, his fearsome reputation in the village, his physical strength, absolutely none of it matters in the face of divine power. Jigong owns his reality, becomes a terrifyingly intimate lesson rather than a public spectacle.
That is deeply unsettling. He's trapped in a private, waking nightmare that only he and the monk know about. He can't even rely on the laws of nature anymore.
Exactly.
And while they're out there in the dark, right before the assassination attempt, there is an incredible piece of dialogue that I think ties this whole theme together.
Oh, the conversation about the cost of the pill.
Yes. Jigong asks Ma Jing if he has any idea how much the miraculous medicine that cured his mother actually costs to produce. Ma Jing, thinking like a businessman, asks how much, and Jigong replies, 1 copper coin a pill.
A single copper coin, the lowest possible denomination of currency. And Ma Jing's immediate response is, that's very cheap.
Which completely misses the point. And Jigong replies with this biting critique. He says, it may be cheap, but I don't plan to make it anymore. People today have no conscience. I cure their diseases, and they try to kill me. Then they plan to build a pagoda and burn paper money to repay me.
He throws Ma Jing's exact secret internal monologue right back in his face.
It's incredible. He reads his mind and shames him for it.
It is a brilliant moment of exposition. Jigong is highlighting the absolute spiritual bankruptcy of the modern world. He is talking about the concept of cheap miracles yielding cheap gratitude.
Cheap gratitude. I like that phrase.
The miracle of life itself, the pulling of a mother back from death, was facilitated by a pill that cost a single copper coin. But instead of valuing the immense weight of the human life that was saved, Ma Jing and people like him devalued the miracle simply because it didn't cost a fortune.
Because he didn't have to pay a chest of gold for it.
Exactly. Because the cure was cheap, they feel justified in their cheap loyalty and their quick betrayal.
It makes you think about how we value things today. You know, if someone gives you a piece of free advice that completely changes your career, you might dismiss it.
Oh, for sure.
But if you pay a consultant $10,000 for the exact same advice, you treat it like gospel. We completely conflate monetary costs with actual value. Jigong is pointing out how utterly broken that mindset is.
It is a piercing social commentary wrapped inside a supernatural thriller.
So after the villagers disperse, Jigong decides he's made his point for now. He lifts the paralysis spell and lets Ma Jing go. And this brings us to an incredible tonal shift in the narrative.
The pacing here is just wild.
It's enough to give a reader whiplash. We just went from a tense, true crime-style assassination attempt in the pitch black to what basically devolves into a buddy cop physical comedy.
It really does.
Jigong completely, casually ignores the fact that this man just tried to chop his head off 2 minutes ago. He turns to Ma Jing and says, hey, instead of using that knife on me, why don't you use it on your wife's lover?
The structural pacing here is intentionally disorienting. Jigong never, ever lets Ma Jing settle into a predictable rhythm.
Keep him off balance.
Right. He knows that Ma Jing's murderous energy hasn't dissipated, it's just been thwarted. So Jigong redirects that violent energy toward the one thing that will trigger Ma Jing's fragile ego even more than a social insult at a dinner party.
His patriarchal pride.
Exactly.
Jigong says, let's go catch adulterers. They head toward a place called Pilu Temple. And suddenly, Ma Jing, the badass swordsman, the Lord of the East Room, is completely out of his depth.
He's like a fish out of water.
As they are walking, he awkwardly turns to Jigong and asks, how do we actually do this? I don't really have any experience in the trade of catching cheating spouses.
It's almost pathetic.
It is. He sounds like a confused intern asking for instructions. Is Jigong just using humor here to completely disarm Ma Jing's macho persona?
Absolutely. Think about the archetypes that are clashing in this scene. Ma Jing represents the serious, self-important, hyper-masculine warrior culture. His entire worldview relies on physical prowess, heavy weapons, and strict codes of conduct.
And Jigong is the exact opposite.
Right. Jigong represents the fluid, absurd, effortless power of the divine. When they arrive at the high wall surrounding Pilu Temple, we see this power dynamic perfectly visualized.
With the wall, right.
Ma Jing asks how they're going to get inside. Jigong tells him to valse over. So Ma Jing exerts himself. He does a cinematic martial arts leap, expending physical energy to get over the obstacle.
Showing off his skills.
But when he lands on the other side, breathing hard, Jigong is already there, casually squatting on the ground waiting for him.
And Mahjong is baffled. He says, "How did you get in here?" And Jigong just deadpans, "I squeezed in."
This is so casual.
Mahjong asks, "From where?" And Jigong points and says, "Through the wall."
Right. Ma Jing had to exert immense physical effort to conquer the obstacle by going over it. Jigong simply ignored the physical reality of the wall entirely and went through it.
And to prove it, he does it again, doesn't he?
He does. He walks up to the solid brick wall and uses a specific incantation. Chilling Jia.
I want to spend some time on that incantation, because to a casual reader, it just sounds like a generic magic word. It sounds like abracadabra. What is the actual mechanical and historical significance of Chilling Xia in this context?
It is far more than a generic magic word. It is a profoundly authoritative linguistic marker in esoteric Taoist and Buddhist practices.
Let's break it down.
Okay, so is originally from Sanskrit. It is the primordial sound of the universe, the seed syllable from which all reality vibrates. It was absorbed into Chinese mysticism through Buddhism.
So it's like tapping into the root code of the universe.
Exactly. Then Qiling roughly translates to an imperial or divine command. In Taoist magic, priests write Qiling on paper talismans to authorize the spell, acting as a direct edict from the heavenly bureaucracy.
Like a signature from God.
Pretty much. And Jia is a forceful vocalization, an expression of awe, intimidation, or a sonic blast used to dispel evil or enforce compliance.
So when you put them all together.
When Jigong strings these together, Qilin Jia, he is not asking the wall to open. He is using the fundamental vibrational frequency of the universe to issue a divine imperial edict, commanding the physical matter of the earth to yield to his authority.
Wow.
It is an expression of incredibly high-level spiritual power commanding the elements.
It's the equivalent of a supreme cosmic override code. But how does Mahjong react to witnessing this profound manifestation of ultimate reality?
This is the tragic part.
Jigong vanishes into the solid brick, reappears, and Mahjong looks at him and says, "Wow, that's a neat trick. I'd like to learn that tomorrow."
And there is the ultimate tragedy of the mundane mind encountering the divine.
He just doesn't get it.
Not at all. Mo Jing witnesses a miracle, a literal breakdown of the barrier between physical matter and spiritual energy, and his ego immediately categorizes it as a mere trick.
He thinks he can just add it to his tool belt.
Exactly. He thinks it's a new technique he can just add to his martial arts repertoire, like learning a new way to hold a sword or a new grappling move. He completely fails to grasp the years of spiritual cultivation, the shedding of the ego, and the divine enlightenment required to perform it.
He's still trapped in his own arrogance.
It shows that despite being frozen, despite being made invisible, Ma Jing still stubbornly believes he is in control. He still thinks he can master this situation if he just learns the right mechanical moves.
Well, he is about to lose whatever fragile illusion of control he has left, because we are moving into the darkest part of the chapter, the peeping Tom and the grotesque illusion.
Yeah, things get very dark very quickly.
They sneak into the east courtyard of Pilu Temple. They find the north room, and there's a light on inside. Mahjong does the classic cinematic trope of the era. He licks his finger, silently pokes a hole in the paper window, and peeks his eye up to the hole to look inside.
Building the suspense.
Right. And what he sees through that tiny opening is designed to be his absolute worst, most humiliating nightmare.
It is a meticulously constructed scene of profound betrayal. The author provides vivid descriptions to set the scene. Ma Jing sees the lighting, the luxurious furniture, the arrangement of the bed, and sitting right in the middle of it is his own wife, Hishi.
But she is not dressed like the modest, virtuous wife he expects.
Not even close.
She is dressed lavishly, wearing heavy, seductive makeup, looking vibrant and entirely out of place for a woman who told her husband she was simply going to visit her sick mother.
And she is not alone.
No, she is flanked by 2 monks, and the text gives them these incredibly specific, grotesque character descriptions.
Yeah, these aren't your typical monks.
The one sitting in the seat of honor is named Gao King, nicknamed the Flower Snatcher. He is described as huge, dark-skinned, shirtless, and wearing silk pants.
Very intimidating.
And the other monk is Zulan, the little white tiger who is small, frail, and has a sickly yellow complexion. They are chatting her up, flirting openly, telling her how much they missed her since Ma Jing came back to town.
The visual imagery of these 2 monks is very deliberate. They are designed to represent a total corruption of both the sacred space of the temple and the domestic space of Ma Jing's marriage.
How does the flower snatcher nickname play into that?
The nickname Flower Snatcher is a classic literary trope for a violent, hypersexualized brute who defiles innocent women. The visual contrast between the hulking brute in silk pants and the sickly, frail companion creates a grotesque, almost circus-like parody of desirability.
It's designed to make Ma Jing feel inadequate.
Exactly. For Ma Jing to look through that window and see his wife willingly participating in this, even laughing and complaining that she had to lie to her family just to be there with them, it completely and utterly shatters his psyche.
The text uses a very specific, evocative phrase to describe Ma Jing's reaction at this moment. It says his 3 corpse spirits were jumping.
Yeah.
Now, I know this isn't just a metaphor for being angry. What are the 3 corpse spirits?
This requires a deep dive into Taoist internal alchemy, because it's a fascinating concept. The 3 corpses, also known as the Sanqi, or the 3 worms, are believed to be actual demonic entities or spiritual parasites that reside within the human body from birth.
Wait, like actual bugs inside you?
Spiritual bugs, yes. Taoist texts specify that one resides in the head, one in the chest, and one in the stomach. They are malevolent. They survive by feeding on the grains a person eats. But more importantly, they thrive on the host's negative emotions.
Like anger and jealousy.
Exactly. Anger, greed, lust, and jealousy. Their ultimate goal is to shorten the host's lifespan, to kill the human, so that the corpses can be freed from the body to wander the earth as ghosts and feast on sacrificial offerings.
So they are actively trying to destroy you from the inside out, using your own bad moods as fuel. That is terrifying.
It is. They actively incite you to sin. So when the text says Ma Jing's 3 corpse spirits were jumping, it is not just saying he was mad. It is describing a state of spiritual possession.
He's literally not himself anymore.
Right. It means Ma Jing has been consumed by a state of absolute, uncontrollable, blinding rage. His internal demons have literally taken the wheel. He has lost all rationality.
He goes completely berserk. He kicks the door in, bursts into the room, draws that massive broadsword, and just hacks the giant monk, the flower snatcher, to death on the spot.
It's a total bloodbath.
It really is. The other monk, the frail one, dives out a back window and escapes. But Ma Jing doesn't even care about him. He locks his eyes entirely on his wife, He-Shi.
His ultimate target.
She screams and runs out into the dark courtyard. He chases her, sword in hand. And this is where the narrative shifts from a domestic revenge thriller into pure, visceral, unadulterated supernatural horror.
It's like a jump scare in a movie.
Because he catches up to her in the courtyard. She turns to face him. She lifts her hand, rubs it across her face, and her eyeballs literally fall out of her skull and dangle down over a foot long against her cheeks.
It is a shocking, stomach-turning image, and it's deeply rooted in the folklore.
What does it symbolize?
The dangling eyeballs, the distortion of the human face, these are classic markers of a demonic illusion or a hungry ghost encountering the living. It represents a corruption of sight, a monstrous physical revelation of inner ugliness.
She looks at him with these foot-long dangling eyes and speaks. She says, "How dare you meddle in my affairs?" And then she opens her mouth and breathes a massive cloud of thick black smoke directly into his face.
The black smoke is crucial here.
Ma Jing inhales it and immediately collapses to the stone floor, completely unconscious.
Right, the black smoke is often associated with corrupted qi or demonic energy. It is the ultimate final defeat of his physical form.
As soon as Ma Jing hits the ground unconscious, enveloped in black smoke, the entire story hits the brakes. We enter what I'll call the meta-narrative break.
Yes, the author pauses the forward momentum of the plot completely. It's a fascinating, jarring structural choice that really highlights the medium of the era.
The narrator of the book explicitly breaks the fourth wall, steps out from behind the curtain, and essentially says to the reader, "Hold on, folks, before we go any further, let's clear something up."
It's like a public service announcement.
It is. It's like you're watching an intense slasher movie, and right after the biggest jump scare, the director pauses the film, puts up a slide with the victim's glowing resume on the screen, and then starts playing a flashback about her brother-in-law.
It's so abrupt.
The text goes out of its way to aggressively list He-Shi's virtues to clear her name. It states very clearly that she is innocent and that she rigidly adheres to the 3 obediences, 4 virtues, 7 chastities, and 9 martyrdoms. It is a massive, intense list of moral achievements.
It is hyperbolic to the point of being almost defensive. But we have to understand the social anxiety of the Qing Dynasty readership, which is when this text was compiled from older stories.
What were they anxious about?
Even depicting a virtuous woman in a compromising illusion was considered highly risky in classic Chinese literature. The author felt an acute cultural pressure to assure the reader that the previous scene was purely a metaphysical punishment generated from Ma Jing.
They didn't want anyone thinking she actually did it.
Right. It was in absolutely no way a reflection on she's actual character.
Hmm. Let's break down that list of virtues. The 3 obediences. What are those?
The 3 obediences are to father, husband, and son. And the 4 virtues are morality, proper speech, modest manner, and diligent work. These are the standard, rigid Confucian moral guidelines for women of the time.
But they added more to it.
They did. By adding 7 chastities and 9 martyrdoms, the author pushes her into the realm of absolute, unshakable, almost superhuman moral perfection.
She's like a saint.
Exactly. She is established as the unwavering anchor of virtue, which serves to sharply contrast with her husband's chaotic, violent ego.
And from this aggressive defense of her character, the narrator seamlessly pivots to introduce her brother, a man named He King. He is introduced with the fearsome nickname, the Law and Order Demon, and we are told he is one of the 36 heroes of Yushin County.
And he's also a sworn brother to Ma Jing.
Right. And suddenly, without any warning, we are plunged into a completely different genre. We are out of the horror courtyard, and we are in a flashback, focusing on Ha King visiting Ma Jing in his private study on a sunny day, having a chat about a mutual friend.
This narrative pivot is a definitive hallmark of classic Chinese vernacular fiction. You see this exact structural technique in monumental, sweeping works like Water Margin or Journey to the West.
It feels so different from how we tell stories today.
It does. Western audiences are heavily conditioned to expect a linear 3-act structure, beginning, middle, end. But these Chinese epics evolved from oral storytelling traditions in tea houses.
So they wander a bit more.
They use a nested, highly episodic structure. It's like a massive storytelling web. You follow one character's thread, and inevitably it intersects with another character. So the storyteller pauses the first thread and follows the new thread for a while to give you the backstory.
It's the original cinematic universe.
Exactly. And the introduction of the 36 heroes is a massive signal to the reader. It immediately zooms the camera out from this intimate domestic dispute to look at the broader Jianghu, the vast martial arts underworld.
And these guys are all connected by this idea of sworn brotherhood.
The concept of sworn brotherhood that connects these men is the absolute glue of this society. It's a bond modeled on the legendary Peach Garden Oath from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
So it's a huge deal.
It is considered stronger than blood, based on mutual loyalty, intense honor, and very often shared illegality. If a sworn brother needs you to hide a body, you hide the body.
No questions asked. And in this sunny flashback, He King is telling Ma Jing about one of their sworn brothers, a guy named Guo Shun, who is known as the night-walking demon Little Kunlun.
What the nickname?
Yeah. Guo Shun has apparently renounced their violent underworld lifestyle and become a Taoist priest. He King isn't just giving his buddy a life update over tea.
Yeah, he's setting something up.
He is essentially setting up the premise for a magical heist. He starts telling Ma Jing about Guo Shun's new spiritual master.
Yes. The master is a figure named Dongfang Taiyu, also known by the intimidating title of Old Immortal Kunlunzi, from Mount Tantai.
That sounds like a guy you don't mess with.
You really don't. This introduction elevates the stakes of the story dramatically. It introduces a whole new tier of magical power into the narrative.
How does he compare to Jigong?
Well, if Jigong is an unpredictable, enlightened trickster Buddhist who uses magic to teach psychological lessons, Old Immortal Kunlunzi represents structured, lethal, terrifyingly potent Taoist elemental magic.
The text goes into great detail describing the master's primary weapon, an artifact known as the Five Elements Profound Gourd. Let's talk about the mechanics of this gourd, because the description is absolutely horrifying.
They're pretty gruesome.
The text says that if the master traps any spirit or demon inside this gourd, within roughly 45 minutes, what they specifically call a time of 1 3/4 of an hour, the entity is melted down into a puddle of pus and blood.
Yeah, it's not a gentle process.
Why pus and blood? What is the elemental Taoist logic behind this specific, gross method of destruction?
It relates directly to the wuxing, the Taoist theory of the 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. These elements constantly interact in cycles of creation and destruction.
Okay, so how does the gourd use them?
A spiritual entity, or a demon, is composed of highly refined, organized energy. The 5 elements profound gourd operates by unleashing a hyper-concentrated destructive cycle of all 5 elements simultaneously upon whatever is trapped inside.
So it just rips them apart at a fundamental level.
Exactly. It forcefully breaks down the organized spiritual energy, reverting it to base, corrupted biological matter. The pus and blood represent the complete elemental dissolution of the entity.
It is absolute unyielding annihilation.
Right. It's not about teaching a demon a moral lesson, like Jigong does. It's about erasing it from existence.
Mm.
This establishes for the reader that the magic in this broader world is not just tricky, it is incredibly dangerous and lethal.
And alongside this apocalyptic gourd, the master has 3 specific, highly powerful paper talismans. One for catching demons, one for warding off monsters, and one for protecting against wild beasts.
And here is the inciting incident of the flashback.
The moment where it all goes wrong, King, the guy nicknamed the Law and Order Demon, casually confesses to Ma Jing that while visiting his brother, he secretly stole the demon-catching talisman from the old master.
Which is an act of staggering, almost unfathomable foolishness.
It really is. It's the equivalent of a teenager sneaking into a military base and stealing the launch keys to a nuclear submarine without having the slightest clue how to read the control panels or what the launch codes are.
That is the perfect analogy.
He has this immense lethal power folded up in his pocket, but absolutely zero underlying spiritual understanding of how it functions. And what does Ma Jing, our resident genius, suggest they do with it?
He says, hey, let's test it out.
Of course he does. Ma Jing knows of a wealthy local man, Wang Yuanwei, in Qingfeng village. Wang's son has recently become violently possessed by something, and Wang is offering a massive reward of 200 taels of silver to anyone who can cure him.
We need to contextualize that reward to understand the motivation. 200 taels of silver in this era is not just a nice bonus.
Is it a lot?
It is life-changing generational wealth for an ordinary person. It could buy estates and land.
Oh, wow. So they're seeing dollar signs.
Huge dollar signs.
But
And here we see the central theme of the entire chapter echoing perfectly across the different timelines. Just as Ma Jing thought his physical broadsword could solve his deep spiritual inadequacies, King thinks a stolen piece of paper makes him a master of the esoteric arts.
it is the profound danger of unearned power.
Precisely. They do not view the talisman as a sacred, volatile tool requiring decades of deep internal cultivation and respect. They view it as a technological shortcut to wealth and status.
The greed completely and instantly corrupts their interaction with the mystical. So they travel to the village. King steps up and poses as a high-level wandering exorcist, and his arrogance during this grift is just off the charts.
He really leans into the fake persona.
He does. The wealthy, desperate father asks him what supplies he needs to prepare for the ritual. The father expects to provide the standard exorcism, gear yellow paper, cinnabar ink, a peach wood sword, and King just waves him off dismissively. He says, I don't need any standard tools.
He's playing the part of the effortless, enlightened master like Jigong going through the wall, but he's faking it entirely.
Why are those standard tools important? What is he ignoring by refusing them?
He is ignoring centuries of protective spiritual science. The peachwood sword is deeply rooted in myth. Peachwood is believed to be abhorrent to evil spirits because it is infused with pure yang or solar energy.
So it's basically a weapon against the dark.
Right. And cinnabar ink, being bright red and containing mercury, is also considered a potent source of yang energy used to seal talismans. By refusing these tools, King thinks he looks like a transcendent badass who doesn't need crutches.
But he actually desperately needs them.
It's the Dunning-Kruger effect applied to high-stakes demonology. He is so profoundly ignorant of the actual danger he is facing that he is completely blindly confident. He strips away every layer of traditional protection because he thinks the stolen piece of paper will do all the work for him.
The sensory details of the climax of this flashback are absolutely masterful in building atmospheric dread.
Oh, the setup in the bedroom is terrifying.
King clears everyone out of the courtyard. He confidently tapes the stolen talisman to the door of the possessed son's bedroom, and then he literally just lies down on a bed in the dark, empty room, crosses his arms, and waits for the money to roll in.
Just chilling.
It's just chilling. The text says he waits until the second watch of the night. It's deep into the darkness. It's dead quiet. The atmosphere is incredibly tense. As a reader, you are just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
You know something bad is coming.
And then suddenly, a terrifying, violent, icy wind blows straight through the room. And King Guy, the hero of Yushan County, the law and order demon, the man who thought he could play God and command the spirits for 200 pieces of silver, is left paralyzed on the bed with absolute bone-chilling terror.
He realizes how out of his depth he is.
In that single gust of wind, he realizes far too late that he has summoned something he has absolutely no idea how to fight, control, or survive.
And that is exactly where the narrative leaves us hanging.